Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and I did a previous video showing these Kokuyo, sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, 60th anniversary sort of transit books, level books, sketchbooks, and I did a little mini tour of some of the things, and it was mostly just colored pencil, but I received a comment asking the question of what about other products? What do other things look like on these sketchbooks? Can they handle watercolor? And I thought that was a wonderful question because I didn't know and I couldn't find online anywhere where somebody had tested these for that. So this is what I've done. I took the offset one, which has the kangaroo on the front, because this one you can still buy in the United States, off Nod Supply. I'll link it down below, still has this one for sale. But I tried a variety of products to see if the paper could handle it, if there was bleeding or ghosting, and this was my results. So here's the front cover with all the wonderful information. It's all in Japanese. And the first one I did with the Sakura Micron, and I used the rose and orange, these two pens right here, and I added a little colored pencil. So I added a little polychromos, which I used the rose carmine and the cadmium orange. And when I look to the other side of the paper, there's no bleeding, yet you can kind of see the paper is kind of thin, but the ghosting is very light. I would feel comfortable doing a thin layer of colored pencil on the opposing page. I think if you did back-to-back Micron, they might actually bleed. Or if you're like me and you only draw on one side of the paper because you're scared of bleeding, then that's fine too. The second one I did was a combination because I was trying to stick with this color scheme, which is impossible. I don't own enough colors, but I used the Copic multi-liner in pink, and then I used a Pilot G7 in orange. And again, I used a little polychromos in the rose carmine and the cadmium orange. And these were fine as well. I could see a little bit more when you overlay Pilot and the Copic multi-liner. There's a little bit more ghosting, but there's no bleeding. So this worked fine. And it looks fine, and we're about ready to get to the strange. Are you ready? Okay, so this one is the Caran Neo Color 2s, and the Neo Color 1s are not water soluble, but the 2s are, and they work sort of like a watercolor crayon, sort of watercolor stick. And these are the colors pink and orange. And you can see that there is sort of curling of the paper. It's not major. I mean, it's not warping too bad. I think if I let this lie flat under a heavy book for a couple days, it would completely go away. So if you wanted to use, and you can kind of see where it's curled, the Neo Pastel, and add some water to this, that the warping isn't major. Like, it's not a huge nightmare. The second one I did, this one was with the Caran Supra 2s. These are a watercolor pencil, and I used the color purple and orange. And again, the curling and buckling is a little bit more ripply on this one. The more water you add, the more the paper ripples. But it's not, I kind of like the effect. I don't know, it doesn't bother me at all. You can kind of see the warbling. Again, if I laid this under a heavy book for a week, it would all go away. But I think because of the sheen, there's some sort of surface, something that they put on this paper that's so smooth that it doesn't bleed through. There's no ghosting. This one I did with Winsor Newton Cotman, and I don't have a ton of Cotman colors, so I did a mixture of actual cadmium red pale hue, alizarin crimson, and the Chinese white. And I didn't go too heavy on it. And the buckling, there's only a little kind of curl here. It's not too bad. When you flip the page over, again, it's minor. It's not super wrinkly. It's fine. I wanted to see if I could try and find things that bled through. So here is Sharpie, and I have some interesting Sharpie colors. I don't know, don't buy Sharpies, but here's a couple Sharpie colors. And I tried a portrait, and as you can see, there is bleeding and ghosting. So Sharpies behave like Sharpies do. And that was an interesting experiment, and I did it. The next experiment I did was actually with Copic markers. And I don't have a lot of colors. So I used the salmon pink, and I used the light rouge, and it's very smooth, and it sort of softens the lines on this paper. So, and you can see the back, all the bleeding, all the ghosting. So that definitely bleeds through. I thought I would try Tombow a little bit and see if that bleeds or ghosts. And I don't have every color in the world, so I'm using 676 and color 912. I'm not really sure what their names are, but I thought we would just do a quick little portraiture and see, is there bleeding? Does it look okay? Like, how does the paper perform with Tombows? Because I know a lot of people who do journaling and stuff, they use these for letters and calligraphy. But I like them for illustration as well. So, we'll see what this looks like. And little nose, little mouth, little cheekbone, jawline, shadow, hair. All right, let's see some light colors over that. Here. Sorry, I apologize if you can't see what I'm doing. And those are those two colors with multiple layers. And the Tombow, there is ghosting, but there's no bleeding. So the purple, I believe, is royal purple. It's a pretty dark purple, which I love that. It's beautiful. And then I thought, one last test. I have the Schmincke Hydrum Aquarelle watercolors, and I have the colors magenta, and I have sort of a chrome yellow deep, and I thought I would just do one little quick watercolor demo so you can see how that kind of looks, how that behaves. And it sort of, you can see it kind of repels on the grid lines, which I think it looks really cool. Like, from an artistic standpoint, I think that looks really different. I would say one thing, because there is such a smooth sheen and finish on this paper, it does take a little bit longer for the watercolors to dry. So you definitely need to be patient with that, because that's something it's gonna take a little bit before you can turn the page and keep working. So maybe you do the other parts of your journaling or drawing first and save your watercolor for last so it can dry overnight. But this is a thing that can be done. And I can apply a bunch of water, and we can see how it sort of, there's definitely something on the surface of this paper that sort of protects the paper. There is like a coating. So I can do a lot of water on it. You can see I have a little puddle going. It'll take a while to dry and it'll cause more ripples, but it's not really affecting, I wouldn't say it's negatively affecting the illustration any. Like, it's not wrecking the paper. Watercolor doesn't bleed through. I would say if you're heavy-handed or real wild with your water, like I am being on purpose to show you for this demo, the buckling. But again, I think you could press this flat if having buckled pages bothers you. I don't mind buckled pages. I think it sort of adds to the charm. So I mean, we could go super heavy on the water all the way around. So for these sketchbooks, I would say, yes, you could watercolor on them because of whatever sort of surface sheen they have on the paper. Just keep in mind that it's going to buckle. And if that is a breaking factor for you, you may not want to do that. You may want to get something heavier, like a 300-gram watercolor paper sketchbook or something. But if you like watercoloring in your journals and adding little things like this to little projects you're working on with this sketchbook, this might be a great idea. Okay, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you all tomorrow. Bye.